We have already discussed that how brain is formed from the various primary brain vesicles of the neural tube. Now we will discuss how spinal cord is formed from the neural tube. We know that the wall of the neural tube is a single layer of neuroepithelial cells. Let me write it down. The wall of neural tube is a single layer of neuroepithelial cells. Neuroepithelial cells. So the wall of neural tube is a single layer of neuroepithelial cells. Now these neuroepithelial cells will undergo rapid cell division. These neuroepithelial cells will undergo rapid cell division. And with this development, this single layer of wall will differentiate into three distinct layers. So with the development of the neural tube, this is N. With the development of the neural tube, this single layer of neuroepithelial cells, this single layer of wall will differentiate into three distinct layers. Will get differentiated into three distinct layers. What are those three distinct layers? Number one, it is ventricular layer. Ventricular layer. Second one is called the mantle layer. And the third one is called the marginal layer. Marginal layer. So the single layer of wall will differentiate into three distinct layers: the ventricular layer, mantle layer, and marginal layer. This ventricular layer is the innermost layer of which lines the central canal. This is the innermost layer. This is the innermost layer. And this lines the central canal. We know the central canal. Within the spinal cord, there is a narrow canal. There is a narrow canal which contains the cerebrospinal fluid. Within the spinal cord, there is a narrow canal which runs through the center of the spinal cord. And this narrow canal is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. This narrow canal which runs through the center of the spinal cord is called central canal. Central canal. The lining of the central canal is made by this ventricular layer. So the ventricular layer is the innermost layer which lines the central canal. Innermost layer which lines the central canal. Now, mantle layer. Second one is mantle layer. What is mantle layer? Mantle layer is the middle layer. It is the middle layer. It is the middle layer of the spinal cord. Now this middle layer contains neuronal cell bodies. This middle layer contains neuronal cell bodies and thus forms the grey matter. We know the cell bodies forms the grey matter and its shape is almost like a H. It is H in shape. We know that. Okay. So this is the dorsal horn, this is the ventral horn, we know that. So this is the grey matter. This is the grey matter formed by neuronal cell bodies, and this is the middle layer which is called the mantle layer. Clear? And marginal layer is the outermost layer. Outermost layer, and this layer is formed by white matter. That is, it is formed by myelinated and unmyelinated axon formed by myelinated, mainly myelinated and unmyelinated axons. Axons are also called nerve fibers. Nerve fibers. So this marginal layer is formed by myelinated and unmyelinated axon, which are also called nerve fibers. Axons are also called nerve fibers, and these marginal layer is mainly formed of myelinated axon and a small proportion of unmyelinated axon. Mainly myelinated axon and a small proportion of unmyelinated axon. As this layer is made up of axons, that is nerve fibers, so it is white matter. So it is considered as white matter. So what you have seen, the wall of the neural tube. The wall of the neural tube is a single layer of neuroepithelial cells. These neuroepithelial cells will undergo rapid cell division. And as the neuroepithelial cell undergoes rapid cell division, there will be development in the neural tube. With the development of the neural tube, what will happen? The single layer wall will get differentiated into three distinct layers. What are those three distinct layers? The innermost layer is called ventricular layer, the middle layer is called mantle layer, and the outermost layer is called marginal layer. Now the innermost layer, that is the ventricular layer, it lines the central canal. What is central canal? Central canal is the narrow canal that runs through the center of the spinal cord, and this narrow canal contains cerebrospinal fluid. This narrow canal which runs through the center of the spinal cord and which is filled with cerebrospinal fluid is called central canal. So this central canal is lined by this ventricular layer. This ventricular layer lines the central canal. Clear? So this is the ventricular layer. So this is the ventricular layer which lines the central canal. Next is the middle layer, which is the mantle layer. This mantle layer contains neuronal cell bodies. As it contains the neuronal cell bodies, it is considered as grey matter, and its shape is like H or a butterfly shape. Okay. Now the outermost layer is formed by white matter. That means it is formed by axons, that is nerve fibers. Axons and nerve fibers are same. Okay. Now what kind of nerve fibers? What kind of axon? Mainly myelinated axon and a small proportion of unmyelinated axon. Now this middle layer, mantle layer, is separated into two distinct regions. Here there is no space, I will write in the next page. This is the middle layer, mantle layer. Mantle layer. This is the middle layer. Middle layer, which is formed of grey matter. Now this mantle layer or the middle layer is separated into two distinct regions. It is separated into two distinct regions. What are these two distinct regions? One is called alar plate and another one is called basal plate. Now what is alar plate and what is basal plate? Alar plate develops the dorsal horn. Alar plate develops the dorsal horn. Alar plate develops the dorsal horns and basal plate develops into ventral horn. Alar plate develops into dorsal horns and basal plate develops into ventral horns. Now if we see the spinal cord, this is the spinal cord, okay, this is the central canal. Now let us cut the spinal cord from here and view it in a cross-sectional view. So what we will see, I'm not a very good artist, kindly cooperate with me. So suppose this is the cross-sectional view of the spinal cord. This is the central canal, this central canal, this is the central canal which contains the cerebrospinal fluid. Now the mantle layer is like that. The mantle layer is like this. So these are the dorsal horns, and these are the ventral horns. Now dorsal horn, they processes sensory information. They process sensory information. Whereas the ventral horn, they handle motor output. They handle motor output. So if we see the middle layer, which is called the mantle layer, it is separated into two distinct regions. One is alar plate, another one is basal plate. The alar plate develops into dorsal horn, and dorsal horn is responsible for the sensory information. The dorsal horns processes sensory information, and this basal plate develops into ventral horns, and ventral horns handle the motor output. So these are the dorsal horns and these are the ventral horns, and entire this thing is a gray matter. This is gray matter, and this forms the mantle layer. These are the dorsal horns, these are the ventral horns, and outside of it, this is the white matter, and this white matter is made up of this marginal layer, that is the outermost layer, which is formed by the myelinated and unmyelinated axons. Mainly myelinated axon and a small proportion of unmyelinated axon. Okay. Now this spinal cord lies inside the vertebral canal. This spinal cord lies inside the vertebral canal. Now what is vertebral canal? Let me write it down. Spinal cord lies inside the vertebral canal. Now vertebral canal is also called spinal canal. Vertebral canal is also called spinal canal. Now what is this vertebral canal? What is the spinal canal? It is nothing but the bony tunnel of the vertebral column. We know that the spinal cord, if this is the spinal cord, it is protected within the vertebral column. This spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Now this vertebral column has a bony tunnel. So this vertebral canal is nothing but the bony tunnel of the vertebral column. Bony tunnel of the vertebral column. And this bony tunnel of the vertebral column, that is the vertebral canal or the spinal canal, it extends from the base of the skull. It extends from the base of the skull up to sacrum. Thus, if we see the length of the spinal cord in an adult individual, it is about 42 to 45 centimeter in length. So this is the length of the spinal cord in adult individual. Clear? Now spinal cord is divided into 5 regions. Spinal cord is divided into 5 regions. spinal cord is divided into 5 regions. 5 regions. What are those 5 regions? First one is cervical region. Cervical region. Second one is thoracic region. Thoracic region. Third one is lumbar region. Fourth one is sacral region. And fifth one is coccygeal region. Coccygeal region. So spinal cord is divided into 5 regions: cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral region and coccygeal region. Now in the cervical region there are 8 pairs of cervical nerves. There are 8 pairs of cervical nerves. We will see that 8 pairs of cervical nerves arise from this cervical region. Similarly, we will see that 12 pairs of thoracic nerve, 12 pairs of thoracic nerves arise from this thoracic region. We will see that 5 pairs of lumbar nerves arise from this lumbar region. Similarly, we will see that 5 pairs of sacral nerves arise from the sacral region, and only 1 pair of coccygeal nerve arise from this coccygeal region. So spinal cord is divided into 5 regions. There cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral region and coccygeal region. We will see that 8 pairs of cervical nerves arise from this cervical region. 12 pairs of thoracic nerves arise from this thoracic region. 5 pairs of lumbar nerves arise from this lumbar region. 5 pairs of sacral nerves arise from this sacral region, and only 1 pair of coccygeal nerve arise from this coccygeal region. Now if we make the total, we will see that in total there are 31 pairs of nerves. There are 31 pairs of nerves. Just add on 8 pairs plus 12 pairs. 8 plus 12, 20. 20 plus 5, 25. 25 plus 5, 30. 30 plus 1, 31. So there are 31 pairs of nerves. And all these nerves arise from the spinal cord, and all these nerves arise from the spinal cord from the different regions, and these nerves are called the spinal nerves. So these 31 pairs of nerves are called the spinal nerves. Now all these spinal nerves are mixed nerves. What does it mean? It means they carry both sensory and motor fibers. That is, these nerves carry both sensory and motor fibers, and that is why they are considered as mixed nerves. So I think we have already understood that how spinal cord is formed from the neural tube, and we have already discussed a bit details of the spinal cord.